All right, guys. Some videos here coming up for Unit 6, which is one variable data. Taking a look at one variable data. We're going to start off by measurements of or measures of central tendency. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at data and a lot of different ways to look at data. We're going to talk about how spread out data is eventually. Okay, so if you graph data and you have a bunch of different things and it's spread out, that's kind of a newer thing for us. That is the next section. That's 6.2 in the text. 6.1 is measures of central tendency. So what we're looking at is describe the data by what's in the middle of the data, um, and not necessarily middle, but central tendencies means how does the data behave centrally, or how does the majority of the how do we describe the majority of the data? And I want to be careful when I say majority and average and all that stuff, but it's looking at the best way to describe a bunch of data with one number or two numbers or something, trying to really simplify how we look at it. And I probably just overdoing this here, but the three different ways the measurements of central tendency, you know these three, your old friends, mean, median, and mode. Means the average, take everything, divide by the number of things. So if you have 3, 5, 8, 9, whatever, 3, 5, 8, 9, 11, and those are ages of people, you add them up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, divide by 5. Okay, so you get the sum of them, you divide by 5. The middle number is straightforward, that's the median. And if you have two middles, so if we look here with class B, you can have two middles, 73 and 69. All you do with that is you add them together and you divide by 2. So you take the average of the middle. So there's that for median. Of course, if there's just one number, if there's an odd number of elements that we're looking at, so if you have like 3, 5, and 7, you're looking at those, you cross out the top, you cross out the bottom, and you're left with the middle. Left is most common, is obviously the number that shows up the most. If you have two numbers that show up the most, so if I have some data like this, and there's my data, 333, 6, 9, 9, 9, 9, that comes up, that comes up. That's a bimodal distribution. You have two modes, okay, and that's fine. You could also have no modes. So if I have data like this over here, 3, 5, 8, 9, 11, I say what's the mode, you'd say nothing. Uh, there is no mode. Sometimes it gets a little confusing when you have something like this, 2, 2, 6, 6, 9, 9, 11. If that's your data, what's the mode? Do you say there's three modes? Maybe. Most likely, once you get past two modes, the use of mode is not going to be the best way to describe the data. Okay, so let me just delete a bunch of this stuff and talk about when we use these and why we use them. Um, you probably be able to do B and C kind of quickly. So if you talk about standardized test score or grades, most of the time we're talking about your average, okay, or your mean, or your median. Class median is also used. Not so much for yourself. We don't do that for your grade. But when we talk about a class, if we're looking at the middle mark, sometimes that's what we look at. Other times we look at the mean. They're usually very close to each other. I'll show you what happens sometimes at the mean in a second. Mode is not something we've done in math class or used in math class that much, but in real life we probably use mode the most. For example, if someone says, I have a bunch of kids in my class, and they ask me, how old are the kids in your class? I'm not going to get the average. Okay, I'm not as tempted as I am to take all the individual ages and divide by the number of students. That's how you lose friends, right? We talked about that, right? You got to make sure that your non-math friends, you give them answers that are fine in the normal world. Okay, median, you're probably not going to do that. You're not going to line them up and say, well, the middle mark, the middle age is this. You might. Okay, that's not that. Um, Cringeworthy for normal people as a mean, but you're just going to do mode, right? If I have a bunch of 17-year-olds in my class and a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old, someone says, how old are the kids in class? I'm going to say, well, most of the kids are 17, right? I'm not going to that's the easiest way to do it, right? If I say to you, how much do you sleep at night? You're not going to go, well, I average 6.253 hours a night. You're not going to probably take the median. You might, okay? Again, you might tend to do that, but most likely you're going to say, well, I usually sleep about 7 hours. Okay, it's 7 hours mostly. Sometimes I get a 6 or 11, right? But you're going to describe things like that with the mode. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is what an outlier can do. So an outlier, you guys probably know what that means. So I keep messing around with my pen and I made it too big. Let me get back to this for a second. So if I look at outlier, so if I have like 1, 1, 1, or no, let's go back to that. So if I have a bunch of 17-year-olds in my class, okay, and I got a bunch of 17-year-olds, tons of them, a 16 and 18-year-old in my class, and then all of a sudden a 99-year-old shows up. Okay, I'm not sure why, who let him in, but he's in class. He's 99. He's heard about how great you guys are. He wants to join in. Okay, what's that going to do to mean, median, and mode? Well, think about that for a second. It's not going to mess around with my mode, right? Because my most common is still 17. Okay, so it won't affect that. It's not going to affect my median likely, right? Because I'm going to have a bunch of 17s in the middle, right? All these guys are 17. There might be a 16 here or 16 here, and then 99. It's still going to be my middle guy. It's still going to be 17. But it will mess around with my average, right? It will pull that average way up. Okay, so not way up, but it could, depending on how many kids are in the class, right? So an outlier is going to have an effect on mean, and that's why a lot of times median is used instead of mean, right? If I have all, even your class averages, right? If I'm looking at the class average or the class grade, see, I kind of default to average there, and all you guys are 75, 75, 80 around here, right? And I have all these 75 and 80s, and somebody has 1, that's going to yank down the average, but it won't have as much effect on the median, because if you look in the middle, the numbers that are in the middle, usually there might be a couple numbers repeated, or it might just go up 1 or 2. Okay, so that's the effect of outliers on that sort of thing. Formulas. Let's see if this is going to work. Oh, look at that. Isn't that great? Population mean, sample mean. Formulas for these. What's going on here? Let's talk about it. Real simple. You know what this is. How do you get the mean? You take all the numbers, you sum all the numbers up, right? That's the Greek sigma. Remember we talked about that? You sum up all the elements, or all the x's, and you divide by the number of elements. That's n, that's the number of elements in a population. That's n, the number of elements in a sample. Why do we use different letters? I don't know. Okay, but big N is the size of the population. Little n is the size of the sample. Well, we should use different. Think about that. If you're talking about sample and population, um, and you say how many things are in one and how many things in the other, it's nice and easy to look at it and say, look, there's big N, that means population, little n means sample. Really easy to remember which one's which. Population is always going to be bigger than sample, or at least as big as the sample. Okay, so big, small. Okay, and mu, that's the Greek letter mu, little m, like that. We call it mu. The Greeks call it me, but that's fine. And it looks like a cursive U with a tail in the front, kind of, I guess. I don't know. So that's how I make it in Greek school. No, that's how I did. My cursive was horrible. But basically, it's like that with a line in the front. I'm having a hard time writing on the screen. And this guy here is another way to write mean for sample mean is just your x with a line on top. Okay, so you'll see this a lot. You'll see this too. Okay, and I gotta admit, a lot of times people interchange the two, and it's not the biggest deal in the world if you do. Don't forget, all equations will be given to you from now on. I'm gonna pause this for 1 second. Okay, just had a sip of my coffee. Back at it. Let's switch to blue here. Normal and skewed distributions. So what we're looking at here is some data, and I'm going to go down here and then compare it to what's above. Here are 3 classes: class 1, class 2, class 3, and you have a mean. And traditionally, we look at the mean of the classes, right? We look at the average. So class average 75, class average 75, class average 75. So I have 3 classes, and they all have 75 average. But then I do a little more study into the measurement of some tendency, and I realize that class 2 is the most boring because they have an average of 75, a median of 75, and also 75 is my most common. Okay, so when we graph that, what's going to happen here is you're going to have something that is going to look like this, and this is what we call normal. And there's no skew here. You have the mean, the median, and the mode are on top of each other. They don't necessarily have to be. This doesn't have to be exactly on top of each other, but very close to each other at least. Okay. So mean, median, mode are on top of each other. You get what's called a normal curve or a bell curve or a normal bell curve. Okay, and that is when mean, median, and mode are the same. Now that is very common in distributions found normally. Okay, grade distribution, you get something very similar to this most of the time, but sometimes you get things like this. Okay, and this. So let's look at the 2 different differences here. The one on the left and one on the right. This one here, let's look at class 1. Class 1 has a mean of 75, a median of 77. So my median is a little higher, and my mode is 83. So let's look at that guy. Oops, oops. Let's look at that. My mode is higher than my mean. So which example is that? Just line this up again. My mode is higher than my mean. So there's my mode, there's my mean. Okay, so my mode's over here. So if you look at this class here, we call this negatively skewed. Okay, so basically what's happened here is you tend to have kind of a higher average. So I have a median that's pretty high and a mode that's pretty high. Okay, these are above 75. And what's happened is my mean has been dragged down. Is dragged a word? Dragged down. Drugged is a different word. Dragged down because I have some a tail here of kids that are not as bright. Okay, they haven't done as well. I shouldn't say it not as bright. Haven't done as well. So I have most kids around 75, 80-ish. Okay, even higher. Sorry, most kids are around 80. But what happens is my class average is pulled down by a few kids here. Okay, and this is called negatively skewed. So here's what it looks like. Again, it's pulled down and skewed to the left or negatively skewed. The opposite is skewed to the right or positively skewed. So this is also actually called skewed to the left. Okay, left skewed or skewed to left, negatively skewed. This one, right skewed or positive skewed. Here you have a different scenario where your mode and your median. So that is scenario number 3, I believe here. Yep. So my mode and my median are down here in the 60s and low 70s. Okay. But my average is pulled up by just a few smart people, okay, or people who've done better than others. Okay, so usually, so that is positive skew. So my average is getting pulled up by outliers. Remember we were talking about the outliers earlier, and they get pulled up there. Okay, this is to tell you the truth, this is the negatively skews what I tend to have in classes, and the reason that is for attendance. Okay, so these are the kids that attend, and then I get pulled down by the kids that kind of stop showing up, and their averages get pulled down. Okay, so that's that. Give me a second because I'm filming at home and something's going on with my cat, I think. Well, that was interesting. And I'm not talking about the cat, just some issues there with the recorder. So I think we're good to go, hopefully. Otherwise, this won't work. But anyway, I cheated a bit and I filled in a couple things. I'm a little short on time right now. Just for the recordings, they max out at 15 minutes because I have the free version of Screencast-O-Matic because I'm too cheap to buy the expensive one. Anyway, I'm just having a sip of my coffee. So here's the deal. We're looking at something, and what we're looking at here is how much TV do you watch in a week? And I asked a bunch of people, and this is, you have options, and I decided my intervals are going to be either 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 10, and 10 to 20. And then I do a tally chart, and that's my results, okay? And what you want to do is find the mean for that situation. So when you have group data, okay? So group data having not individual marks or individual answers, where I didn't really ask you, tell me the exact amount. Instead, I allowed you to give me answers in different intervals. What you're going to do here is you're going to, it's going to be a little different than usual. And what you're going to do is you're going to find the middle of each interval. So that's 0 to 2 is 1. That's the midpoint there is 3, 5, 8, and 15. And to get the average, what you're going to do is multiply this times this. Okay, so that's what this is saying. Sum the frequency times the midpoint. So you're going to go 1 times 2 plus 3 times 6, 15 times 2. And then what you're going to do is divide by the total number of people. You add those up, there's 20 people. Okay, and then that's how you get that. That's the same, essentially the same way to do it for both population. Okay, remember that that's for population, and that is for sample. Okay, you do the exact same thing. You take how frequently something comes up, multiply it by the midpoint, and then divide by the total number of elements. Okay, that's going to end this part of the video. I'm pushing 15 minutes. I'm just going to start a second one for the rest of this section. Okay, so that's it. I got 10 seconds. I got nothing to say. So see you.